All right, g'day everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Explore Yarns with your mates. This week, a pretty exciting podcast, to be completely honest. Anthony Kittel, the owner of Redarc Electronics. Obviously, everyone out there will know exactly who Redarc Electronics are. Today, we're going to sort of touch on a bit of the backstory, how it come about, and find out a little bit more about the man himself. So without further ado, normally, mate, we do have a beer in the studio. I'll pass this one across to you virtually, but look, unfortunately, we're doing this one remote. But yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Cheers. Thanks, Matt. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Mate, not a drama. Obviously, we haven't had a chance to meet in person yet, which is a little bit upsetting, but I have had a quick sneak through the factory, mate, and it absolutely blew my mind.
Fantastic. Yeah, the boys were telling me that you managed to have a quick peek through last year, so looking forward to having you back when all this COVID stuff is over.
Yes, mate. After doing our little walk around, everyone wanted a proper factory tour. So, look, that's something that we'll definitely sort out as soon as we can travel. So, with a bit of luck in the next couple of months, hopefully we can get back down there.
Sure thing. Looking forward to it.
All right, mates. Well, I thought I'd kick it off, I guess, for anyone that might not be hugely familiar with Redarc. I mean, everyone should know of the brand, but maybe just tell us a little bit more about what Redarc is.
We're a South Australian manufacturer, always specialised in electronics. The company started around 40 years ago, Matt, in 1979. The guy that founded the business was a guy called Bob Mackey. And Bob was a Porsche freak, and his first product that he started playing with was a ignition system for a Porsche 911. And he built one of those, and the first prototype that he built had a Redarc, and hence he named the business Redarc. So Bob owned...
Okay, I wondered where the name come from.
Yeah, Bob owned the company, or ran it, for about 18 years, and unfortunately he became ill in the latter part of his life, passed on, and his wife ran it for a couple of years before putting it up for sale, and that's when we came in and bought the business back in 1997. Seems like an eternity ago. Yeah,
right. Okay, cool. So who was it exactly that took over the business then?
So my wife, Michelle, and I, and Michelle's dad, Dennis. So Dennis and I were partners for the first 5 years of buying Redarc, and then Dennis retired, and Michelle and I bought Dennis's shares out, so we own 100% of the business still today.
Yeah, awesome. Well, give us a little bit of an insight of what Redarc looked like when you guys sort of bought into the business.
Wow, yeah, no, that's long memories, but look, it's really clear even today because the site that we were on is only just a matter of a few hundred metres from where we actually sit today. It was a 4-unit shed. We had the front unit which had an office. We had 8 staff in there, and pretty much just hand loading electronics onto circuit boards, electronic components, and making the key product at that point in time was a voltage converter. And the reason you needed a voltage converter was that in the European and Japanese trucks that were imported into Australia, they were 24-volt electrical systems. And obviously all the equipment that people wanted to run, which at that time was pretty straightforward, it was a radio and globes on the trailers. So our reducer brought the voltage from 24 down to 12 to enable you to run the radio and the lights on your trailers on the B doubles. So that's how the business really started to build a family of products for that trucking sector.
Yep. Yeah, right. Yeah. So trucks and sort of trailers is where
that was the heritage.
It all sort of. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And how did you progress from there? And I guess the next sort of, well, maybe we talk in decades. Yeah. But yeah, so from the next sort of 5-10 years after you guys took over, did you change direction, or did it stay the way it was for a while?
We stayed virtually in the trucks for around about the first 4 or 5 years, and the reason we did that was there was a lot of things to fix in the business. The products were getting a bit tired, a bit unreliable, because Bob had passed away by that stage about 5 years prior. So and he was the innovator, so we needed to really upgrade the product. So our customer service wasn't the best. Our tech advice really didn't exist at that point in time. So we fixed all those things in the first 3 years, and then we set up an R&D department in around 2002 and started to bring in our own engineers and design our own products. And at the same time, there was the I think it was called the recession we had to have that Paul Keating said. I think it was back in around 2001, or one of those .com type busts, and we thought, the trucking sector mirrors the economy. So as the economy went down, the truck sector dived, and we thought we needed to diversify the business. So we looked outside of trucks and thought, where else can we move to? And while still keeping trucks as a key focus, and we thought the four-wheel drive and the caravan sector were two adjacent markets that we could use our technology in, and that proved to be a godsend. And so in late 2001, we developed a product called the Smart Battery Isolator, which is the beginnings of the dual battery systems.
Yeah, right.
And that product was an absolute winner.
So where was the inspiration to head into that market? Did you have any background in the four-wheel drive recreation space, or it just sort of made sense coming off the back of trucks?
Look, I had a little bit of background, in fact, quite a reasonable amount of background in the four-wheel drive sector. Prior to buying Redarc, I was working in a company called ROH Wheels, which the mag wheels. And I started there as a project engineer and then worked through to manufacturing manager and then general manager of the aftermarket division. So we were developing, designing and manufacturing wheels for the global market. So I got to learn a lot about the automotive sector at an early age, traveling the world, talking to our distributors around the world, and then running a manufacturing business. So it was a great experience coming to Redarc. So I knew about that sector. I knew there was opportunities, and I saw a product that I thought we could innovate and make it better, and that was the dual battery isolator. Because back in those days, all people used was like a $10 solenoid to separate the batteries, and the downside of that was that it had no smarts about it. So as soon as you ran your auxiliary battery flat, you start to run your main battery flat. So it didn't make a lot of sense. So we said, well, if we can add some smart electronics to this, basically put a brain on it, then we can measure when the start battery's full. We can measure when it's starting to come down, and only allow you to charge your auxiliary battery when the time's right. And obviously, as you run your fridge, you don't flatten your start battery. So
exactly.
We called it the smart start, and never run your start battery flat was part of our motto.
Yeah, right. Yeah, awesome. So I guess from there, now it's sort of grown into an absolute monster. But let's just keep talking about the progression of the business. So you branched into that sector and obviously found a bit of legs. And where'd you sort of go from there?
So more into the caravanning and that four-wheel drive sector. That's where we saw plenty of growth, and it was the beginning of the growth of the four-wheel drive market. So today we have 40% of all new vehicles are four-wheel drives, which is amazing.
Crazy, eh? Yeah.
So we saw that starting to happen back then, and really, for us with eight staff, we were actually pretty busy making the products we had plus the isolators. Yeah. But what we thought was, we knew that whilst the smart isolator was a good product, it only was ever open or shut. So what I mean by that is it detected when it needed to open and when it closed, but it never had the ability to adjust the gate. So, and what I mean by that is that as the auxiliary battery started to be fully charged, we needed something smarter to be able to back the charge off or adjust the charging profile as the auxiliary battery needed it. So we thought, if we could design a product that was smart enough to look at the second battery and only put the right amount of charge at the right charging profile, depending on what the battery chemistry was, we'd have an absolute winner. And so that started us thinking about a new product family, which ultimately was our DC-DC chargers, which really created a whole new family of products in the market. And we were the first to market with those products in Australia. And we continue to innovate on those today. So they then further diversified our business, as well as what came out of that as well was the battery management system, which is the ultimate product in terms of 240-volt charging, 6 products in one. And then we went from there into our new Red Vision system. So these things, they just they gain
Scale
momentum
over
and
time.
scale. That's right. But
Yeah, and I suppose each year in the electronic space, technology grows so fast.
exactly.
That it'd be bloody hard to keep up, I'd imagine.
Yeah. So it sounds easy, but back then we had one engineer. And today we have 42 engineers in full-time in R&D.
Wow.
In R&D. So you can see the scale of the company as we've grown.
Well, let's touch on that a little bit about just the scale that you guys have come from. So location is obviously down in that Adelaide, South Australia, that you spoke of, and your original shed's not far. And I know over the years you've had a couple of pretty big upsizes with one not too long ago. So why don't we just touch on that?
Sure. So, a couple of really defining moments for the business. We outgrew the old premises in about 2002. We moved into another lease premise. We outgrew that in 2004, and it was really pretty hard to do what we call lean manufacturing in current terminology back then. So it was around 2005, and I thought we've got to find a place that we actually can move into and call it home, rather than moving from factory to factory, which is not easy.
Yeah.
So at the time, Mitsubishi closed their engine casting plant, which was only again a few kilometres away, and then a year or two later, they closed their car manufacturing plant here in Adelaide. So the government were advertising for projects that they could help businesses in the south of Adelaide grow, to take up some of the employees that obviously would lose their jobs from those two factories. So I put in a proposal to say, look, Redarc would build this brand new state-of-the-art facility, and we made a submission to the government. We were successful. We got a grant from the government, which helped us build our first facility back in, we opened it in 2007. It was around 1,800 square metres, and we had 34 employees. And the goal, as part of that grant, was to go from 34 employees to 68 within I think it was 5 years. And we blitzed that. We went to about 84 employees, and so we more than satisfied the criteria of the grant.
Yes, crazy.
So much so that in 2011 we needed to double the size of the factory. So we went to 3,600 square metres, and again another quite a big expansion. And then this more recently in 2018 we started another significant expansion, which we opened late that year. 2017, opened it late 2018. We went to 6,300 square metres, but this time we went hard. We rolled the dice and put everything on the line and spent $21 million, about 11 million on the building and about 10 million on some of the best test equipment you've ever seen, to really make sure that we could build products for the global market. And that's been really good. We've grown our employee base from that original 34 in 2005 to today about 210.
Crazy. That's absolutely massive. And some of those dates that you've been giving me there seem like they're all right at just before some of the financial crises back in 2007, and obviously we had some twitchy moments there, but thankfully each time we've managed to miss the disaster by about a year. So we had a full year of sales in the new facility, just over maybe a year and a half in the new facility, and sales at that time, we were growing at 20 to 30% per annum. So our growth was huge, and thankfully we're able to. We never wasted money. We're able to keep that cash and make sure that though we didn't know it, when the GFC hit, whilst we had some debt, we weren't sort of up to the neck in debt, and got through it in good shape. Because I think something that we should definitely touch on here, and obviously it's quite evident, but Australian manufacturing, especially in the electronics sector, is more or less unheard of. A lot of products come from overseas. So to hear that you guys have scaled from what was 8 employees to how many at now?
About 210.
200?
Yeah.
About 200. So over 200 employees, and everything's made in-house. That's, got to take my hat off to you. That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I think, we're smart enough, and we've got amazing universities, and we've got great talented people. So there's no reason we can't be successful here. The key thing is, you got to automate and innovate. So they're the two main things that we concentrate on. So looking in the factory, it's always about continuous improvements, and the sorts of improvements I'm talking about aren't big step jumps. They're the 1%ers, and those little 1%ers throughout the year, add them up, and that's when you get real gains. So we're always looking at how we can do things better every single day. We've actually now got a new team of engineers. There's about 12 in that team, and their full-time job is just to look at how the factory becomes better, becomes smarter, more sophisticated.
Efficiency.
We've got cobots in the facility, so...
I do have a little note down here on my piece of paper, robots.
Sure.
Because obviously when I got to go for the walkthrough, that was one thing that sort of blew me away was, robots on the production line, sort of putting the pieces into the boards and whatnot.
Yep.
That's obviously, efficiency and time. That I'm sure that helps at a pretty large cost, I'd imagine.
Yeah, actually, these robots have really come down in price, and their sophistication is so great now. We call them collaborative robots, so cobots. And these cobots can work right next to you and safely. So basically, if you touch the robot, it just stops and it won't hurt anyone. But we're the first company in Australia to have 3 cobots working in tandem, and they're now making the TowPro. So it's not 100% automated. We still have someone doing the final check and packing, but we're so close to being able to make a fully automated electric brake controller, with a cobot. And a cobot, as I say, they're not that expensive. They're about 60,000 a piece. And you add the vision camera so that you can decipher which way the components, which orientation they are. And then we've built some really smart software and jigs so that things can be orientated the right way and make sure that it's 100% proven every time. Yep.
I think that's one thing that was just a standout for me when I was walking through the factory was the level of innovation and testing. Testing was a big one. And, I think for a lot of our viewers watching, when you go to pick your electronic products for your full drive after having this chat, and this is why I'm really excited to do the walkthrough through your factory, because you can see that one, not only is it an Australian-owned company, Australian manufactured, but the level of testing that you guys do would just absolutely blow anyone out of the water. So there's a couple of $1 million sort of rooms you've got there just for testing. The one main one was the vibration testing, obviously. The amount of corrugation work and off-road work we do with our products. And it was after seeing, them tested going from 0 degrees to 100 degrees or minus 100, whatever it was, with the liquid nitrogen you had there. And then the, obviously the vibration testing. You can see why your product would be more expensive than the competitors.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't shy away from the fact that we're not the cheapest product on the market, but you buy Redarc, you buy it once. I mean, if I'm going to go to Birdsville, or if I'm going to go to Broome or Cape York or wherever you might want to go, we guarantee you get there and you get back safely. The product performs faultlessly, and that's what that test equipment does for us. So you hit the money. Actually, it's minus 100 to plus 200, and we can take the product through that cycle in just 3 minutes. So it's an amazing facility. We've got the liquid nitrogen. We've got a 50 kilowatt heater to really pound the heat into the product. And I think it's up to 100 G vibration we can throw into the product as well. So we can actually, what we can do is take your vehicle out, put some sensors on your vehicle, map a road, and then come back and simulate that road in the vibration machine and guarantee that whatever you can throw at it, it'll survive.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the fact that obviously you take that to a whole nother level because you're able to test to even harsher conditions than what we would ever be able to put the products through. So I guess, I was chatting to, I wish I remembered his name. You've got a bloke working in that test facility doing the vibration there. He's an absolute character.
I reckon that sounds like Rodrigo.
That's him. Yeah, Rodrigo. So,
our Brazilian.
Absolute legend. Extremely passionate about what he does, And definitely give him a bit of a pat on the back, mate. I'm looking forward to getting him to do a couple of pieces to camera and, to go through and see all the different staff. It is a very awesome environment that you've built there. And the likes of Rodrigo, you can see how passionate he is about the products and the fact that he's like, we will take these to a level where you won't even get close. And then, they blow our expectations out of the water. And I honestly left that factory going like, well, I'm 100% going to run Redarc in my vehicles. It's something that I have had in my vehicles for probably the past 10 years. I've sort of done the progression.
Fantastic.
Starting off with your isolator, just a simple dual battery setup. And right now in my 76, I'm running your Manager 30 system, which, the bit of a long story short, that saved my vehicle. The vehicle caught on fire through a bit of a wiring fault of our own when we were remote. This is a story you may not have heard. We were basically travelling out the back towards Lorella up in the Northern Territory there.
Right.
And my mate's car broke down, so we put his trailer on the back of my vehicle, and it wasn't set up to charge towing. So we did a little bit of a dodgy wiring job, which should have been okay just to get us out of trouble, but we had a zip tie break, touched against the exhaust and shorted. And the Manager 30 popped up and said voltage warning, which I'd never seen before in my life, because I keep the Manager 30 display mounted in my roof console above my driver's seat.
Okay.
So second I seen that, I was like, that's different. We pulled over, and by the time I pulled over, the car was full of smoke, and by the time we got out, it was flame on.
Wow.
So true story. Redarc 100% saved the 76. So,
wow, that's incredible.
It's a pretty wild story.
It sure is.
So and then even after the amount of, we had flame basically in the back seat of the car, all the way underneath the car to the back charging point. But we managed to put it out, I reckon, with about 30 seconds to spare, because I was basically sucking in that much smoke that the boys were starting to drag me out of the car, but I wasn't ready to let it go.
That's scary.
And so look, I've come up into that level of sophistication in my 12-volt systems. Now we are doing those more remote trips, and able to see how much power we've got, how much we're using, what's coming in, what's going out is obviously crucial when you want to pull up for 3 or 4 days, and you want to see how much solar you've got coming in, and know, just gives you that peace of mind to know your fridges aren't going to go hot on you. And we've actually got a new truck being built at the moment, which is a 79 dual cab that's basically going to be my dream vehicle. And we're stepping up again into the Red Vision system, which I'm extremely excited for.
Fantastic product. Yeah, good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I'm bloody pumped. Unfortunately, this COVID has slowed me down in the build.
So what are you going to run in the back of it with the Red Vision system?
So we'll have probably at least the 200 amps of lithium.
Yeah.
The Red Vision with the 2,000 watt inverter as well.
Right.
Mainly for charging, we're probably going to look at having like an induction cooktop.
Okay.
So the 2,000 watt inverter will cover that. And now I have a little bit more room. I might get fancy and throw the coffee machine in the back there, mate.
Nice.
So, as much as it's glamping when you live and spend as much time on the road that I do, it's, it is the Redarc products that allow me to sort of bring those creature comforts with me. And then obviously as much water storage as I can basically fit underneath. So the Red Vision obviously takes care of all of that as well. So it's basically a full truck management system, and it can keep me on the road, which is pretty impressive. We'll probably have either between 150 or 300 watts of solar up on top as well. Yeah. So it'll be a very self-sufficient rig, which is exciting.
That'd be great. Yeah, no, sounds awesome.
All right, so I think something that I'd like to touch on real quickly, being a small business owner and being bloody fresh at it, and obviously you would have faced all different sorts of challenges and hurdles throughout the growth of your business. So would you have any advice for small or even medium-sized business owners that might be watching this from your experiences over the years?
Yeah, I think one of the first lessons I learned early on, and it's not until you go through this and you reflect back and think, how would I have done it differently? But I think the key thing is stick to what you're good at, and don't try and be all things to all people, because then you lose focus and you dilute your expertise. So it's really good to know what you're best at, concentrate on that and go hard. And what I mean by go hard is, really invest as much as you can without losing the farm. So always have that plan B in place. So, but I think that's the goal, is that most people, that sometimes they're a little bit risk averse, so they don't go as hard as they should, don't invest as much as they should early on. And so I think, really do as much as you can without tipping over the edge, because obviously COVID type situations might arise. But
yes,
they're probably one or two of the key lessons I learned early on, is just that focus. And so, one of the first things I did back in the early days was write a plan on a page, and it was three segments, and it said, where are we now, where do we want to be, how are we going to get there? And it was a one pager, and I gave that one pager to all of the staff, which was around 10 of us back in 2000. And on the top of that page it said that we want to be a 5 million revenue business in 2005. And we'd hit 1 million in 2000. So to go from 1 million to 5 million, that it felt like climbing Everest. That sort of goal. But the amazing thing was, by having that simple one pager, everyone on the same train, in 2005 we hit 5 million and $20,000 in revenue.
Crazy.
This is just amazing, But I seriously, back in the year 2000, I thought, it's a great goal. I believe in it, but I'm not sure if we're ever going to get there. And we did. So that's, I think, the power of focus and the power of motivation by having that plan that you look at every day, and keep ticking off the boxes. Are we doing this? Are we concentrating on what's the key elements our customers are looking for from us?
Yeah.
So that'll be the key bits of advice. And even today, as a business of more than 200 people, we still have a plan on a page.
Yeah.
And it's got to be simple. It can't be, everyone from the person on the shop floor to the head of sales or the head of manufacturing, whoever it might be, they've got to look at that plan and be able to understand it, and not talk, motherhood statements or waffle. What are the key things that we're actually trying to do in this business?
Yeah, awesome. No, I think that's very relevant to the way I've sort of tried to structure my business. Is where I set a goal, if you keep pushing, you tend to get it, and you only just get it. And that's something that this year I've taken away, to probably aim just a little bit further than where I need to be, to sort of, instead of covering our ass, to try and 100% be in the green. And
sure.
I think I'll definitely be heading back after this chat and getting that one pager through the rest of our team. So it's been an interesting journey. My background is I'm basically a plumber by trade, and I sort of worked through the ranks and ended up doing small little project managing jobs with the company. And then basically once they finally offered me the full-time role as a project manager, I quit. The plumbing was never a passion of mine. I've grown up just loving all things outdoors, and we basically started Explore 4x4 as an Instagram page, and off the back of that, we've managed to align with some really cool companies, and then turn it into an actual business. And today now we have our own little headquarters, which is a workshop downstairs and offices upstairs, and we basically have an in-house videographer, and I have a PA that basically keeps me on track, because I'm a little bit all over the place. And we have an awesome film crew in place as well that we contract out to come on all of our episodes. And we do have some pretty big and ambitious goals, and with the help of some, I think we're very lucky that we've aligned with the best in the game when it comes to companies and sponsors and partners to align with, that, most of them are the top of their game, so they can sort of weather these COVID storms, and that will hopefully keep us afloat through these times as well. But no, it's definitely something that's hard to get is some of that good business advice, and it's always nice to get as much as we can from people that have been there, done that, and sort of made it through the tough times, and and stayed fully Australian owned as well, mate, which is I think in the coming years, I think that will be a big push. I don't know how many years ago, but maybe 5, even 10 years ago, it was Australian made. Like if it had that Australian tick on it, it was, there was a lot of heart around Australian owned products. And I think we've sort of got diluted in that space over the last decade. And, after this COVID crisis, I think a lot of people, obviously we're not going to be able to travel. So hopefully a lot of that support will go back to the Australian owned companies with a bit of luck.
Yeah, look, I totally agree. I think, what we've found through this COVID situation is that, we've got a local supply chain. So when China went into lockdown and people couldn't get components out of China, I mean, for us, it wasn't a big deal because we've got all the local companies around us that make our plastics or make our metalwork and, some of our wiring harnesses, for instance. So we had no issues whatsoever with our material supply. And so anyone who gave us, as the orders came in, we delivered in full on time. So it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, to be honest.
So
and even me personally, just from the outside looking in, as soon as you think electronics, you assume that maybe you put some pieces together in your factory in Australia, but it's all coming from overseas, and obviously that's not the case at all.
No, exactly right. So I look at China's a minimum 10-week to 20-week lead time. By the time you place an order to getting goods out, whereas with us, you can order something that 8 o'clock this morning, and at 4 o'clock this afternoon, the product will be out the door.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we can turn it around that quickly.
That's pretty bloody impressive, to be honest.
And that's
so. What's the vision? What's the vision for the future? Where do you sort of see Redarc pushing over the next decade?
Yeah, look, I think concentrate on stick to our knitting. We know what we're good at, so we won't be sort of going too far from the current direction. But the grand plan, and it's always been my goal, is I'd love Redarc to be a global brand name, and so that's really from way back in 1997, nothing's changed. So we want to take Redarc to the US, we want to take Redarc to Europe, to Russia, to Africa. All those sorts of markets that are strong full driving or overlanding markets in the US, and make people, or not make people, but ask people, to consider our products, and then hopefully they'll consider the Redarc brand like we do here in Australia. That it's sort of second nature. That you want to put a dual battery system in your vehicle, it's Redarc, or you want to put an electric brake controller in your vehicle, it's Redarc. So that's our goal in North America and our goal in Europe.
And how have you found those markets? I briefly got to get over to America last year and did the Overland Expo East, which is the smaller of the two shows. And obviously our direction is worldwide as well. And I was supposed to be spending a month in America this year to catch up with a couple of other YouTubers and film some of our own episodes over there. And then we were doing the Overland Expo West. And obviously, unfortunately, all of that has gone pear-shaped. But that overlanding space in America absolutely seems to be on fire. And from all research I've done, it's growing at about 30% a year. And mate, I just laugh when I go over and see their setups and they're running these Yeti Eskies in the back. And I'm just like, have you not heard of Redarc?
Exactly.
So I think it's, a space that you guys should be able to absolutely dominate. And, in this day and age, how you don't run a fridge when you want to go overlanding. And I mean, they take all the gear. The Americans take it to this whole nother level, wearing tactical gear and bloody compasses.
That's right.
And all sorts of crazy things. Yeah. And I think, the guys that were ahead of the space over there, they were all running your Redarc products. I got to catch up with your Redarc dealers over there. They were on one of the stands. So, yeah, I think, that's a space where you guys should do extremely well.
Massive opportunity, and we're actually smashing it. The people now are starting to ask for the product by name, and we can just tell by some of the reviews that we're getting sent back to us from our customers over there are sensational, and the volume of calls and the volume of social media is just going through the roof. So I think it's we're only touching the surface, though, as you say. That 30% growth rate, massive opportunity, and we're in the throes, a little bit of a setback at the moment, but we're in the throes of hiring staff over there and relocating some of our Australian people to the US to live full time. And we think it's just going to be a huge opportunity.
Yeah. Well, from all reports when I was over there. You know, when you talk about anything overlanding and product-wise, if it's from Australia or from South Africa, they tend to absolutely love it because it's something that, you know, we've been doing for decades, and they sort of, it's relatively new to them. They definitely camp a lot different to us. Especially Canada is an interesting one. I think they're even further behind than America in that, you know, they take their little dome tents and none of their vehicles have any sort of real accessories on them. And you show them a photo of my truck and they think it's a bloody apocalyptic vehicle. Yeah. But have you guys pushed into the Canada space much at all? Or?
Yeah, I was up in Red Deer, which is up near Edmonton in Canada, just over a year ago, and I was talking to one of the RVers up there, and he had his big fifth wheeler, and I said to him, you know, how are you charging the batteries that you've got in your fifth wheeler? And he just looked at me like, oh, well, I've got a wire that runs from my start battery to the house batteries in the fifth wheel. And I said, seriously? Like, he drives from Red Deer down to Phoenix, Arizona for the summer, to get away from the extreme cold, and with no charging system. And so when he gets there and sets up the vehicle, you know, the battery's at best a 70% charge. So I explained to him about our products and what they can do, and of course he's straight into it. And then he's got the solar blanket and the setup. So I guess just that little story shows that there's massive opportunity in Canada, and we're starting to get into that market as well. We see that as a great opportunity. And look, another story. I was in Iceland a couple of times in the last 2 years, and the big ice trucks up there, great opportunities there as well with charging systems. And I know ARB products are really well known in Iceland. So huge opportunities in Russia. They just love, like you said, Australian products, or South African in particular, because of the harsh conditions that our products survive in. They know if it survives here, it'll survive anywhere.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's it. What about the European market? I was planning this year to actually head over to, I will never remember the name, but there's a big show in Germany.
Automechanica.
Automechanica.
Yes.
I was going to try and get over to there this year just to have a look.
Awesome show, yeah.
They obviously focus a lot more around like your van and caravan style setups, which obviously you guys cater for. But yeah, I'm fascinated by all the different setups, and that's why I'm sort of trying to branch out and get to as many different shows as I can throughout the world and sort of see what little innovations we could perhaps pick up. But I'm sure, those markets would be red hot for you guys as well. Yeah,
Automechanica is just such an awesome show. It's a quality show. There's everyone from around the world's there, and you can see the latest technology. People are proud to take their latest innovations and show them off. And we've won a couple of awards over there for our products in the innovation categories. But Europe for us, particularly France and Germany, are great markets. Not so much in the full driving space, but in what they call C-class motorhomes. So that's the motorhomes like you see at the Tour de France. That a couple would drive, and they've got the little house on the back, and so our DC chargers now. It's taken us just over 10 years, but I'm proud to say that there's a number of manufacturers now installing the DC charger, the Redarc unit, on the factory line in France on the product. So that's been a long, hard journey to win that, but now we're in there, and we've shown them what great quality we make, and looking forward to that business growing over the years. Full driving still popular, but just not as popular in France and Germany as what it is in North America.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you guys distribute over into South Africa as well?
We do, yeah. So pretty much, I think there's more than 30 countries now that we're selling product into. Yep. We've got a warehouse in North Carolina, a warehouse in Poland that shipped throughout Europe, and we've got distributors in South Africa and Middle East. So pretty much our product's available anywhere around the world now.
Yeah, awesome.
Which is incredible.
No, that is very impressive, mate. Well, look, obviously last year you celebrated your 40th anniversary, which is a massive milestone. And look, mate, I'm looking forward to, maybe we'll have to have another podcast when you hit your 50th anniversary.
Look forward to that. Yeah.
Perfect, mate. Well, look, we always try and wrap up with a few questions from our audience. So I'll just pull some of them up on the social media now.
Okay.
See what they've got coming in. All right, so straight off the bat, the first one, Geodude_Athana. Are the Redarc products 100% made in Australia? And I think we've well and truly covered that.
Yep.
But 100% Australian made, Australian sourced, and employing over 200 Australian people, which is absolutely epic to see, mate. So that well and truly covers that, and I think that's something I'm going to be pushing extremely hard. A lot of the sponsors that I've aligned with are all Australian made, and I think now is the time to get around Australian manufacturers and support them more than ever.
Yeah, and look, we love showing off the factory to our customers, and so any of your fans and supporters out there, all I'd say is send us an email, and we're happy to take group tours through the facility and show you how the product's built and tested, and it's 100% Australian.
I tell you what, when we film the walkthrough tour, I might run a competition, and we might grab 10 lucky winners from down in Adelaide, and we'll get them to come on a tour with us. I think something like that could be a bit of fun.
Love to.
All right, well, there you go. Stay tuned for that one. We're going to take 10 winners through the Redarc factory. What other questions have we got here? What types of deep cycle technology do you think we could see after lithium? That's an interesting question.
Yeah. Look, I think things are moving fast in that space in terms of fuel cells, in terms of hydrogen, nickel metal hydride. There's all different sorts of battery chemistries and energy storage mechanisms now that are being looked at. It's changing. It's probably the biggest thing is getting the volume to get the price down to make it economical for us four-wheel drivers to buy. So that's probably the limiting factor at the minute.
Yeah, I think that's anything in the electronic space. Lithium batteries, when they first come out, it was, unachievable, and now it's got down to a place where still very expensive, but obviously it's an option. So it is a matter of time with a lot of these products.
Yeah.
I think as we see the innovation grow, they'll trickle down into the full drive space.
Yeah, and it's again, that the safety and the testing reliability, all these technologies need to progress through that stage, and previously no one would use lithium because they worry they're going to catch fire. Now the technology's really moved on, and you buy a quality product, it's safe, it's reliable, and does the job.
Yeah, 100%. While we just briefly touched on solar, something that I think we should talk about quickly is your facility, the amount of solar panels that you've got on the roof down there.
Yeah, so we've got 150 kilowatts of solar on the roof. We've got the Tesla Powerwall bank that captures the energy and stores it. Off the top, I can't remember how many panels there are, but it's huge.
340 odd, 350 odd panels.
Yeah,
I think I read.
That's right, and that's stage one. So we're looking at stage two, which would be more than 100 kilowatts in stage two. So another 300 roughly panels will go on the roof. And at the moment, in summer, I think it's around 30% of our energy needs for the factory that are covered by solar. Drops down to about 7 or 8% in winter. But as we double that capacity, we'll further become more self-sustainable.
Yeah, epic. That's pretty cool. What's your opinion while we're on this little solar? Electric cars, electric four-wheel drives, and how your systems will sort of integrate into that.
Yeah, so that's we've got a new division in the business called e-mobility, and e-mobility, their role is exactly that, to look at how our existing products integrate into electric vehicles, but also what new opportunities exist for Redarc in the electric vehicle space. We see it, we know our partners in Norway and Germany, they're huge over there. So it'll come to Australia. It's only a matter of time, and Redarc wants to be at the forefront of that. So of course, there's no reason, and we've already proven we've got a little electric vehicle in the workshop here.
I did see that.
Integrated one of our DC chargers into it, and you can run your fridge in the back of the electric vehicle, no problem. Yep.
No, very cool, mate. I think that'll be, as soon as there's we can get one of those electric Teslas or anything like that over here, I'm going to be doing my best to jump into one of them real quick.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be.
It's crazy looking at that new Tesla.
They couldn't have made the thing any uglier if they tried, but look, it'll be interesting to say the least. I mean, the low down torque that you get out of those sorts of things is extremely impressive, and I think it will completely change the way that full driving sort of happens. Being able to individually control each wheel and the power distributed to each wheel. Forget lockers. This thing's going to make everything look easy, I think.
Yeah.
But it will be exciting. It'll be an exciting space.
It will.
So someone's just commented here, need to compete with the cheap Chinese crap, 2,000 watt inverter, nearly $2,000. So I think, whether you want to answer this one, I'll touch base, but at the end of the day, you pay for what you get.
Yeah, look,
I
and
think.
and I guess we're developing all the time in that space and in all of our products. So our aim is obviously to give our customers more bang for buck, and obviously that reliability is a big thing as well. So sure, it's not the cheapest, but like I say, you buy it once. Yeah,
that's right.
Yep.
You can take that, you can pull that inverter out of your vehicle and put it into the next vehicle, and you'll be good for 3 to 4 different vehicle builds, I guess, as opposed to taking one out, hitting the corrugations, and then when you need it is when it will let you down. The cheap gears, I always sort of.
And what I love is when you go through the used car sales adverts and they actually list off the Redarc products that are installed in the vehicle, because it's adding value to the vehicle that they're selling. The people are proud to say that they've got the Redarc dual battery system or the Redarc Red Vision system in there when they're selling the vehicle, because they know it's sought after.
100% adds value to the vehicles. A mate here just actually asked, do you have any property we can go and shoot on?
No, unfortunately. No, I don't.
Sorry, Alex, he doesn't, mate. It was worth a try.
I know a few people, but no, I don't own it myself.
No, that's fair enough. Another question here from Fogarty_J8. Does he do marine products?
Look, we do. We don't probably advertise it as much as we should, but most of the Redarc products will go straight into that marine market. We don't paint them white, which maybe we need to put a bit of white and blue paint on them to say that they're marine grade. But it's a segment that we keep looking at and saying we should target it a bit more specifically. But again, there's only so much you can do. And I mentioned earlier on about stay focused, and so our overlanding, that four-wheel drive segment's a key focus for us. And whilst we don't want to get distracted, we still obviously have the opportunity to add those products for any boatie out there. Yeah, 100%.
Well, I'll hold you to that.
The way the Red Vision system's going, that full control system, it's perfect for a boat, no problem.
Yeah, 100%. And look, I've got myself a little 376 tinny at the moment, and next year we're probably hoping to fit out a 490. I took it out. Mako Craft is the boat brand, so hopefully either the 490 or a 630 next year we're going to try and deck out, so we have a bit more of a touring boat that we can throw the swags in and disappear. So I've already been chatting to Timmy, and dual battery setup with the Redarc gear, so I can have my fridge, we can have the solar up on the hard roof. All those sorts of things. And, I actually was in the boating space for a little while, selling boats and running social media. And it is something I push to a lot of people coming through, to throw a solar panel up on the roof, good dual battery system, and you can run the fridge out on the boat. And I think it's something that, people kind of forget, but I think, more and more people these days are starting to get around it.
If I tell you a quick story, Matt, on the products being useful for marine, I've been in a running club for many years, and one of the younger guys in the club was impressing a new girlfriend. Went on this trip down southeast of South Australia. Took her on this full driving trip, and they were going through a few creek runs, and I think they got out, walked the first one, walked the second one. Piece of cake, went through. Came to the third one, thought, she'll be right. It's all good. Went into the third creek, and the water started. He stalled it, water started raising up above the windowsills, and basically wrote the car off because he just couldn't get it out.
Yeah.
But he pulled out the DC out of it, came back, saw me, a few weeks later, gave it to me and said, look, can you take that in the factory and test it? It's been, it took 3 days to get this vehicle recovered. So underwater for 3 days and in a creek bed, and we tested it, it worked perfectly. So if it can survive that, it will survive on a boat.
Yeah, 100%. So the DCs are a full sealed unit.
Yeah, they're fully potted, and whilst we don't certify it as being 100% waterproof, it will survive all those creek crossings and marine environments, no problem.
Yeah, well, there you go for all your boaties out there. It'll definitely handle the chop and obviously the water that gets thrown on it. So I'm surprised more people don't fit their boats out like 4-wheel drives, to be honest. And a mate of mine at the moment's looking at buying a 6.5 meter center carbon. We're going to deck that thing out to basically run full off-grid, and as long as we can carry fuel, and we're going to start doing a little bit of island hopping, hopefully, so that'll be some slightly different content, so definitely looking forward to incorporating some of the products there and letting you know how we go.
Yeah, fantastic.
Another question here from Eli Witten. Will you guys look at doing ready-to-go packages?
Yeah, absolutely. That's an area we're working hard on at the moment, and we'll continue to do more of that package arrangement for the do-it-yourself type market, so that people can just grab a pack and away they go. Yep. And make our products plug and play so that they're nice and quick to install, and take out some of the techo need to install it.
Yeah.
Obviously, good how-to videos and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a segment that'll grow more and more. Yeah,
perfect, mate. All right, well, look, we're just nearing on the hour there, so we might wrap it up. But look, seriously, thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure people have got a lot of insight from where Redarc came from, and the big Australian-made thing is what I think a lot of people will take home from this, mate. So, look, thanks very much. We look forward to seeing what's next from the Redarc guys and what I'm going to be putting in my next truck after I get all the Red Vision system sorted. But thanks very much for coming on.
No worries, Matt. Look forward to hosting you back down here at the factory.
Yes, mate, 100%. The new segment will be called Behind the Brands.
Beautiful.
And we'll probably catch up with you for a quick chat when we come down to do that. And, everyone will get a nice little look through the factory. So, look, guys, let us know in the comments if you want to see more of this Behind the Brands, where we get to talk to owners like Anthony. Obviously, next time you're out there trying to choose your electronical packages, make sure you go and put Redarc to the test. Obviously, 100% Australian-owned. And now you've got a little bit more of back information on just how extreme they do test these products. Once again, that's a wrap on Explore Yarns. Thanks very much for tuning in. Make sure you put in the comments who you think we should have on next. Till next time, get out and enjoy the Explore life.